You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation, and welcome to The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on a Wednesday, as we have got plenty to get to. We will go around campus like we always do. We'll have a little best of the West. We'll start to talk a little bit about these Cincinnati Bengals. But, Matt, we do have some, I think, some pertinent news here to get us started today.
100%, yeah.
And that is that the Steelers have made some roster moves, one with a familiar name, one with a new name. And let's start with the new name here. The Steelers have added a familiar name, but a new name, cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. to the practice squad.
Okay.
All right. Now, he was, of course, originally drafted by the LA Chargers, second round of the 2021 NFL drafts. The NFL draft, appeared in just 4 games last year after injuries, had to have that spinal fusion surgery, which, ironically enough, he actually had here in Pittsburgh.
It might not be ironic. Maybe that's why he's here now.
I think certainly, Matt, he is a guy that has had pedigree and has had success in this league.
Yeah.
6 interceptions in his 4 seasons, 37 passes defensed. Has started in 47 NFL games, 96 tackles. Like I mentioned, the 4 interceptions, 3 TFLs, a forced fumble. Of course, son of all-pro cornerback Asante Samuel. Matt, this was something that had been discussed, I think, lightly for a couple weeks. Like, I think people knew that he was working his way back and trying to get back. Before some of this injury stuff, he was a big-name free agent.
Right.
And now, finally, the Steelers get it done. He gets it done. His medical status, all those things aligning. And Asante Samuel Jr. now on the Steelers practice squad.
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned it. Like, right before free agency hit this summer, you'll find top 50 free agents on the market.
He was on all those lists.
He's on all those lists. So he's been unemployed since then, obviously for this reason. He only appeared in 4 games last year, as you mentioned. But before that, he played over 1,000 snaps every other year. I mean, he was like at 1,100. He's a full-time player. This is not a recurring thing. But it's scary. I mean, I hate talking about medical stuff because I know I don't know.
We talk about that all the time.
But
we are not doctors.
Disc and neck fusion or whatever doesn't sound great.
It's not like I have a hamstring tear.
Right, finally it's better.
I broke a finger.
Right,
That's
right.
Pretty significant stuff.
Yeah, it's a major surgery, and but the doctors obviously cleared him. These doctors know more about it than any other team in the league. I can't imagine it's a coincidence that he ended up here because he toured like 5 or 6 teams before signing with the Steelers. And from what I understand, is actually one of the Steelers team doctors. Like, it's a Steeler employee did the surgery.
I believe so.
In
yes,
Pittsburgh.
I read that last night.
Yeah. I can't quote that as 100% true, but I think so. So what are they getting as a player? All you can comment on is what he was pre-injury. I mean, he's smaller. He's like 180 pounds, maybe 185, 5'10-ish, something like that. So he's not Joey Porter or Trice or, these really long pterodactyl type dudes. But he's been really productive. A knock on him is he's not the most physical guy, especially with tackling. He's smaller. He's not Jalen Ramsey as a tackler,
sure,
as a corner.
More Joe Hayden cut from that cloth.
Yeah, I think that's a decent way of looking at it. Yeah. Much more of a zone corner than man, but he's really good at it. Like I said, the negatives first. There's the back, neck, injury stuff. There's lack of great size, not a great tackler, but he has phenomenal coverage abilities. He's very fluid. He flips his hips quick. He reads and reacts on his own very, very well. And it also implies to me, 2 things. I mean, in a way, I think they're fortunate to have somebody that's been this good in the league out there for free. I mean,
totally.
If they were traded for an equal player at the trade deadline for a 4th-round pick, I'd have been like, I get it, right,
And he's not 31 years old.
That's what I say,
he's
too.
25.
Right. 25, and maybe he's even in the long-term plans. I assume it's a 1-year deal, but I haven't seen the terms of the contract. I doubt he got like a big bonus or a 2-year deal. but it could be a part of the long-term plan. I was a little worried about corner depth. I mean, I really don't want Ramsey to have to. We talked about it yesterday with Thornhill being gone. It just seemed like that's your only free now.
And what happens?
There wasn't another shoe to
you
draw.
have another injury
right.
at corner, and you have to move Ramsey back.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah, no.
I think they're happy with him as free, and that this helps. Keep that at bay. You're a free safety until further notice, or maybe for the rest of your life, and that's great. So who knows? I'm excited to talk to Chris later. What they think the plan is with him, when he may see the field, all those good things. But I'll take a chance on that freebie in middle of November all day long. I mean, that's a home run.
Absolutely.
If they would have signed him in June, I'd be like, totally get it. Right.
Yeah, 100%. At this point, that's about as exciting as you can get.
Yeah.
Within the scope of where we are in the NFL timeline.
Right. The trade deadline's gone. It's not the same as trading for Jalen Waddle or Chris Olave. Wow. Right. But I mean,
but like you mentioned, if the Steelers would have traded a 4th-round draft pick for a 25-year-old starter-proven corner at the deadline,
with his exact resume,
we would all gone, cool, nice.
Yeah, right. They need it, right?
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't shock me if he is a starter here in 2 weeks.
I was going to say the timeline is probably you want to give him a week to get up to speed and practice, and because it's not that you're stealing him from somebody else's practice squad, and he's been with a team and went through training camp and all that stuff. He's kind of coming in fresh.
Yeah.
Legitimately off the streets, and so I'm sure you want to give him some time to get acclimated before just.
I would think.
Yeah, we could be wrong, but you go with Eccles, you go with Porter Jr., you go with Pierre for a week here.
And Pierre's played well. We've talked about that.
I think he's earned that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're more comfortable with him than you were in the past.
100%.
And again, I hate playing doctor, but I would think. I mean, he hasn't put pads on or a helmet in quite some time. I mean, can he at least hit a sled and go do all the practice stuff of the week as vigorously as you can't replicate game?
Sure.
But sure. I would want him to do some kind of contact before, again, I'm not a doctor, before you throw him out there and play 60 snaps where you got to tackle Derrick Henry.
Right. Right. Yes, absolutely. 100%. We are on the same page there.
If I'm a surgeon, I'm like, do something before you tackle Derrick Henry. Right?
Totally. Do something before you are in a live NFL game where the bullets are flying. And so again, pretty substantial name, pretty big name, particularly to be available at this point in the NFL season timeline.
Yeah. As a freebie.
And I think there's rightfully some excitement about that. It is a low-risk, high-reward maneuver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. And they weren't alone. I mean, I think that gives you more confidence that there were many. I was going to say several, but I went to many teams that were very interested in the service. Who knows the ones he didn't visit, but he visited 4 or 5. Now, every one of them might have been like, medical reject. I don't know.
Sure. Or you're going to be buried on the practice squad for a couple weeks.
Whereas
the Steelers were like, hey, we got injuries, we got opportunity.
We got opportunity, and we need you. Yeah.
I think it could be a combination of both of those things, but certainly an exciting piece of news, I think, that came across the timeline last night. And will definitely be something to keep an eye on. And like you mentioned, we'll talk about this more with our buddy Chris Halicke here.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask Chris this question, but it has crossed my mind in the last 24 hours too. We know that the team wanted to play more press man. Now, that was the goal back then. We're going to blitz a lot. We're going to play press man. We got the corners. And I was all for it. I loved that vision, and it was something I suggested even in the offseason. But now it might be, Porter's really our only man coverage, dude. We're going to probably play a lot of zones. That doesn't mean we won't blitz or will blitz or whatever, but maybe we are going to see a heavier dose of zone going forward, which is fine.
Fine.
It's not like man's better than zone. Yeah, right.
Red paint the barn red.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
And I think,
particularly in this game, I want to put a lot of people in coverage. I mean, if it's zone, fine. I know I don't have the man cover corners to deal with Chase and Higgins. I know that. I just
not many people do.
No, right.
But the Steelers certainly do not as well. We just saw that a couple weeks ago. And who knows if he's going to be involved this weekend against Chase and Higgins.
I'm guessing no, but
I'm guessing no too, but I would also say crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
We'll continue to watch this space. We'll ask Chris Halicke about that in the next hour of the show. We'll obviously monitor.
Especially Slay gets ruled out. I mean, he's not been ruled out yet. We're just kind of assuming.
But there's a good chance as well, too, as you mentioned yesterday. Now, concussion protocol is usually more of a 2-week proposition in this league than ever before. And so plenty to keep an eye on.
And you don't even have to put him on the active roster. You can put him up off the practice squad for a while in the meantime. You
right.
know?
Exactly right. So
Like they did with Sermon and those guys, you know.
I like it. It's something to maybe put a little bit of a pep in your step here midweek in November.
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly something we'll be keeping an eye on. Talk to Chris Halicke about, see if anything in the practice reports kind of indicates how this might move. But he was added to the practice squad. Important to note because, Matt, moving up from reserve IR to the active 53-man roster as well today is Will Howard, quarterback extraordinaire.
Yep.
Number one in everybody's programs. He has been activated to the 53-man roster. So just real quick before we get into Will Howard, with him going to the active roster, with Asante Samuel Jr. going to the practice squad, everybody knows there has to be related moves. Trey Sermon has been waived, and Derek Forrest has been released from the practice squad.
So somebody can grab Sermon, but they would have to put him on their active roster. Won't happen.
Probably not.
I'm sure he'll clear waivers and go to the practice squad.
I think, again, barring something surprising, that would be the moves here.
And Forrest is without a job.
You one defensive back in the door, and Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
One in through the outdoor. Led Zeppelin. Derek Forrest on the way out. So those are kind of the moves to make room for Asante Samuel Jr. to the practice squad. Will Howard elevated to the 53-man. Of course, he returned to practice on October 22nd, so it was right towards the end of that 21-day window of pee or get off the pot, be added to the active roster.
They haven't needed him, but they don't want to lose him, and they want to keep him here for the rest of the year, and hopefully he never sees a snap unless for some reason Week 18 is a meaningless game, then I would start him, not Rudolph. But, I mean...
That's a great point.
Who knows? I don't have much to add on Howard, except philosophically, the team wants 3. I mean, some teams want 4. They always want 3. It's worked out great in the past. That's fine. I would assume he'll be in the mix in training camp and mini camp, but
100%.
Until then, he's running scout team. Good.
100%. I think you're right. There's not a ton to add to Will Howard because we've had that conversation, I think, many times on these airwaves and on others. But this was kind of the moment that we were waiting for. Is he going to spend the rest of the year on IR? As you mentioned, there is just a possibility they wanted to activate that window, let him practice for 3 weeks. And
I thought maybe,
But this, at kind of the 11th hour here in a way, puts that to rest. He will be on the active roster. I imagine he'll be the third emergency quarterback on game day.
Right.
And like you said, we'll wait and see how the end of the season plays out to see if there is potentially an opportunity to see Will Howard in stadium before we get back to, of course, training camp and preseason in 2026.
And who knows? He could be in the mix next year. So, I mean, I'm not dismissing that.
He will be in the mix.
Oh, he'll be in the mix next year in some way, shape, or form.
Now, if there's a first-round quarterback or a second-round quarterback or a third-round quarterback in that mix as well, too, that remains to be seen. Obviously, what happens with Aaron Rodgers, is there any real chance that he comes back in 2026?
Sure.
That'll play a huge role into this.
There's a lot of balls in the air, obviously, for that.
A lot of moving parts, a lot of balls in the air, but we will continue to keep an eye on all of the moving and shaking as we roll along here. But that is kind of your Steelers news of the day. Some pertinent stuff there on both sides of the football and as it relates to the active roster and the 53-man roster. Matt, I mentioned Asante Samuel Jr., of course, the son of Asante Samuel, who was a great defensive back in his own right, 11 years in the NFL, 2-time Super Bowl champion. With that, I thought we'd have some fun today for Best of the West.
Okay.
Top 10 father-son duos in NFL history.
Ooh, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to cheat and Google it just so we don't miss it. Did you do any of that, or is it all off the top of your head?
So what I did was I, off the top of my head, regurgitated probably 8 to 11 different duos that came to mind. Okay, I've told you before, a little bit of a secret, but I matured and grew out of it. I was a bit of a Denver Broncos fan growing up, right?
Yeah.
Loved John Elway, loved Terrell Davis, Steve Atwater, Bill Romanowski, all those guys. Also, Ed McCaffrey. So, like, one of the first ones I jotted down was Ed McCaffrey and Christian McCaffrey.
And that's worthy.
Craig and Cam Hayward. Obviously, the Mannings, Arch and Peyton and Eli. So there were...
I'd say the Mannings are the easiest ones.
Like I said, probably somewhere 8, 9, 11, 12, something like that I kind of just regurgitated down onto a list. I was like, I'll put these in order later, just as many as I could come up with.
Throw them out there, yeah.
And then I looked online. Ooh, forgot about that. And started to kind of formulate a top 10.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest brothers to ever NHL is Mario and Claude Lemieux.
Of course.
99.9% of it's 66,
Yes.
and the other one's brother.
Of course.
So if dad was terrible, but son was Elway or
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'd say I would lean towards I want them both to be good.
That's what I did.
Yeah, okay.
The ones that made the list are, it wasn't just dad had a cup of coffee and son's great.
Didn't even know he was in the league.
Or dad was an all-star. Tony Dorsett and his son who played like 3 years in the league.
I couldn't come up with one off the top of my head. That's a perfect
Tony
one.
Dorsett is not on the list because his son had a cup of coffee in the NFL and that was it.
Right.
It needed to be both of them have the credentials of really good NFL careers.
Yeah, good. I don't want Claude Lemieux on the list.
We will have
right.
we will have some fun conversation on the other side. Best father-son duos in NFL history. And there's some Steeler ties on there, as you can imagine. We'll do all that and more as we roll along on a Wednesday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Before we jump into this highly anticipated Best of the West here, Matt, first of all, I better pull up my notes as well, too, before I forget. Alain Lemieux.
I know, I screwed up. Yeah.
Claude is just the other Lemieux who played for the Avalanche. He was pretty good.
During the same time, and he was like
an
an all-star, yeah.
Alain
and they
Lemieux
were not
was 66's younger brother. I'm sure we'll have some people jumping in the tweets and quick to correct us there.
I would have been correcting you guys, too, or correcting me. I should know better. Right.
But there is a fun topic.
Yeah, let's go.
Abreast here. Best of the West. Again, we've done a couple different things with this year. Most of the time it is football related, but we also snuck in like Halloween candy in there a few days before Halloween. Last week was my top 10 favorite stadiums that I've been to in honor of SoFi Stadium. This week, in honor of Asante Samuel Jr.
Love it.
Top 10 family combinations, father-son combinations in NFL history. I have some honorable mentions for you, too.
I bet there's a lot more than I'm thinking of.
A lot more. I thought this would be easy. In fact, Matt,
I bet this is really hard.
Like in my mind, when I was scrambling down the names, I was like, you know what? Maybe as a joke, I'll throw in like Ed and Sean Hockley. Even though they didn't play, like they're both big name. I was like,
there probably won't be that many.
I was like, there probably won't be that many. Like I might need to have an extra one or two in there. I'll throw in like Ed or Sean Hockley. Matt, in total, I wrote down 23 different combinations.
I bet.
So
that are all had a case.
And I want to be very clear with this because when we do these type of things, it's funny how much participation you typically get.
Oh, yeah.
And how could you do this person? How could you forget that person?
And I'm sure everyone's wheels are spinning like mine are right now, too. I'm coming up with a lot as I'm thinking about it a little bit more.
I spent some time on this, but I didn't spend hours on this, okay?
And you shouldn't.
I spent like 20, 30 minutes on this morning while I was having my breakfast and my coffee. So I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I've got someone number 7 on the list and you think they should be number 2 or 3, okay.
That's fine. Right.
But I'm just trying to have some fun with this and stimulate some good conversation.
I definitely would have forgot some.
Okay, so do you want me to first run through the honorable mentions?
Yeah, we always like to count down 32 to 1, basically.
Correct.
Right.
Let's run through the honorable mentions just to kind of set the stage for how good the top 10 is going to be. Honorable mentions, the Peasies.
Yeah, I'm hoping you don't put Porter on there just because he's a Steeler. I almost didn't say that, but I wanted to say it, and I'm like, I definitely can come with 10 more.
The Peasies. They're in the honorable mention category.
Right.
Hopefully,
Son needs to do more.
Son will take off here and do a little bit more. Dad was obviously a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro and a Super Bowl champion. That tells you kind of how tight this list is.
Trending the right direction for the Porters, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Bobby and Marlon Humphrey.
Ooh, I did not come up with that one.
Pat and Pat Surtain II.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Terrence and DK Metcalf for another Pittsburgh tie here.
Okay.
Bum and Wade Phillips to go to the coaching.
Oh, you're going to
go to the coaching ranks for a minute. I'll also go to the coaching.
Gets crazy though.
I'll also go to the coaching rankings with Mike and Kyle Shanahan.
I'd say Shanahan, and right, yeah.
And as I mentioned, I jokingly had Ed and Sean Hockley on here. Zeus and Orlando Brown.
Okay, we're still honorable mentions.
That was still honorable mentions. Yeah. That was a tough one to leave off. Joe and Dan Klecko. A lot of accolades between those two. Joe was obviously a much better player, but Dan won 3 Super Bowls in his career.
Quick Dan Klecko story. He was at Temple when we were at Pitt.
Yes, he was.
And we used to play against like the U when they would have first-round D tackles all over the place. They'd all rather play against the guys at the U than Klecko. He was this big, and
He was
unbelievable football player.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he should be. I think he even like flirted with fullback and stuff like that.
Played,
in the NFL.
He played like 6 or 7 years in the NFL, won 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, I mean, he was a demon.
Demon.
Temple.
I think I've told you this before, but I worked with him in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So he was part of the Eagles radio network.
Okay.
When I was there for 3 years. So he was on our pregame and our postgame show for the Eagles broadcast. So I got to know him decently well in those years. He used to always tell me the story about when he was at Temple in 2003. They came to Morgantown and won at Mountaineer Field. Rich Rodriguez's first year as WVU head coach and his first tenure.
I assume Temple was a dog.
They were, and they beat us like 17-3 in a really low, ugly scoring game. I was there, like 12 years old or whatever, and so he used to and he had like 6 sacks in that game. Was an absolute menace.
Oh, it was like that every time we played him too. It was the same era, right?
And I would always laugh anytime quarterback play would come up and would get debated on the stations. He would be like, "Oh, I'm just the guy who spent 7 years playing with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. What do I know?" He won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots and then 1 with the Colts. That was his NFL career.
Not bad.
Pretty stinking good. I had Rob Ryan with Rex and Buddy as well too.
Yeah, it's a huge one.
More coaching rankings. George and Jamal Adams, both Pro Bowlers, both really good careers.
I didn't even know that was Jamal's dad.
And Oliver
I didn't
Luck.
know the Humphreys were the dads either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oliver Luck and Andrew Luck.
Worth bringing up.
Yeah.
I mean, dad or son carries a lot more weight than dad, but
absolutely,
all he was good. He was Warren Moon's backup. I mean, he might
was
have been.
Good NFL
he was a good backup. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Humphrey, 4 years with the Broncos. He was a Pro Bowler.
I know. I didn't realize that was his dad
in 1990. Yeah. So that, Matt, is just the honorable mentions that I had to bump out of the top 10 to kind of give you an idea of how good this is.
Now, I'm not giving you a hard time, but I'm going to criticize your lists every week.
Go for
That's
it.
what we do.
That's the fun of it.
I'm going to have a hard time not having the Shanahans and the coaching trees in the top 10.
So that was kind of another
But how much do you weight that?
How much do you weight that?
Right,
because of course the Shanahans.
If I were you, I wouldn't even went down that road. I mean, you're just opening up a can of worms and more angles for people to come at you.
I like to make people think. This is my Professor Uhler moment.
Okay.
Or you can just sit here and make the people think. Number 10 on my list: Mossy and Lofa Tatupu.
Wow.
Yeah.
They would have been an honorable mention for me.
They would have been an honorable mention for you?
Yeah.
You ain't got love for the Tatupus?
No.
Dad played 14 years in the NFL, was a Pro Bowler.
He was an awesome special teamer.
Rushed for 18 touchdowns in his career. 3 Pro Bowls for Lofa. Over 550 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 10 interceptions. Both dad and son Pro Bowlers. That ain't enough.
I get it.
That ain't enough to get the Williamson going.
Especially the names you just gave me before that.
Okay, fine.
All right, I'll be honest.
Gene and Geno Adkins.
Oh, that's Geno's dad.
Yes, it is.
Huh. Geno is great.
Was great.
Yes, one of the best Bengals of all time.
One of the best Bengals of all time. 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All Pro. And Dad had 25 interceptions and nearly 500 tackles, spending a decade with the Saints and the Dolphins.
Yeah, okay. A long, strong career for Dad.
Steve and Cam Jordan.
Oh, good one.
Steve Jordan, nearly 500 receptions, over 6,300 receiving yards, 28 touchdowns, and a 13-year career with the Minnesota Vikings, 6 Pro Bowls, and a member of the Vikings Ring of Honor.
Wow.
Of course.
He was like the...
Cam Jordan, 115 and a half sacks and 8 Pro Bowls.
It's pretty good.
That's a pretty good one, huh?
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that surprised me that I didn't think of Steve Jordan.
I never would have.
But right away was like, oh, yeah.
Like, no one was playing fantasy back then, but Steve Jordan, when I was like 10 or 12, was like, I would collect football cards and I would put like all the tight ends together and I'd always have the best one in front. And and I'd ask my dad who's better. He's like, I'm not playing who's better anymore. But he was always like the 4th best tight end in the league, at that stage, right.
That's a pretty good one. That's one that I had not had in my head that I was like, you know what? Dad and I mean, between the pair of them, they've got like a dozen Pro Bowl selections.
Yeah.
And over 100 sacks and 6,000 receiving yards.
And son's kind of like Geno Atkins. Like, he won't go to the Hall of Fame, but he'll be an all-time really great Saint, all-time great Bengal. Right.
Casey Hampton
type. Yeah, exactly.
Hines Ward type.
Like Cam, I would put a little ahead of those guys.
Yes.
But in the these D linemen of this era.
And along that vein, just one spot ahead of them, Craig Ironhead Hayward and Cam Hayward check in at number 7.
Dad was good.
Oh, buddy. 11 years in the NFL, over 4,300 rushing yards, made it to a Pro Bowl, and then his son is first-team All-Pro and has a chance to go to Canton one day.
I saw Dad when I was real young at why can't I remember? It's the famous fry place in Oakland.
Oh, the O.
Yo.
Is no longer standing.
No longer standing. And he was sitting at a booth with this many fries in front of him. This many. And his butt was as big as this screen, it felt like to me. It's like a 10-year-old. I was like, can you imagine tackling that dude?
You're like, this is the biggest man I think I've ever seen.
Yes.
All right, now it gets hard. Because, I mean,
there's some stud ones.
As you can see,
the
these last ones that have been like 9, 8, and 7 are really, these are father and son were both Pro Bowlers. And
now
really,
we're talking like Hall of Famers, probably.
Clay Matthews Jr. and Clay Matthews III.
The Matthews family's awesome.
Yes. Yes, they are.
I wish I should know better who belongs to Bruce and who belongs to Clay.
Jake belongs to Bruce.
Okay.
Right? Like the Falcons' offensive lineman. Wasn't that Jake Matthews?
That's the left tackle now.
Yes, belongs to Bruce.
Okay.
And then Clay belongs to Clay.
So the linebacker belongs to the linebacker, the O-lineman belongs to the O-lineman.
Right. Yeah, that's probably the easiest
that probably
way to say
makes the most sense, and it would have been my guess if I was connecting the dots. But
Father Clay, Matt, over 1,500.
Both groups have a case.
Yes.
And
I meant to actually, the other Matthews were on my honorable mentions list.
They should be.
Didn't read through
Bruce
all
is a
of
Hall of Famer, and Jake's had a really good career. And the Matthews never miss a game.
Clay, one of the best linebackers in NFL history, 19 seasons.
He's been a Hall of Fame almost guy for
forever.
A million years. Yeah.
And we're talking about the older one here, not long hair Clay Matthews of the Packers. Over 1,500 tackles, 19 seasons, 3-time first-team All-Pro, also a bunch of Pro Bowls. And then, of course, Clay III, who we know, All-Pro, 11 years in the NFL, over 500 tackles, 6-time Pro Bowler. Of course, unfortunately, won that Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers.
Rodgers, right?
And then, I mean, if you want to throw Casey in there as well, too, he played 4 years in the NFL for Philadelphia as a linebacker as well, too. But I was more so like,
sure,
no disrespect to Connor, but I'm going with Cam as the father-son.
Right.
But, man, those guys are really good, and they check in at number 6 for me.
Matthews family in general, pretty strong.
Pretty good genes there. One that really surprised me, but when you look at the accomplishments on paper, I had to put him at number 5. Mark Sr. and Mark Ingram.
Huh. Okay. Senior was a good player.
Senior was, he 10 NFL seasons, Super Bowl champion, 26 touchdown catches. And then, his son, Heisman Trophy winner, college football national champion, rushed for more than 8,000 yards in the NFL, 65 touchdowns, 3-time Pro Bowler. Both son and father.
I never would have come up with that one.
Ton of production.
Yeah.
They were a hard one to kind of pin down.
I don't know where I'd slot them, but yeah.
But these top 4 are really good. So I had them slotted at number 5.
Okay.
I could easily be argued to have a couple of those people we just mentioned ahead of them.
Yeah, I'd have a couple ahead of the Ingrams.
I might have a couple ahead of them now that I'm thinking out loud, but I've got them at number 5. Number 4, this one, outstanding, Howie Long with Chris.
Oh, that's great.
You can loop in both Chris and Kyle here.
Yeah, and I would. I think you get extra credit for having 2 good sons.
I think you're right. Yes.
Oh, you definitely did,
yes.
right.
Of course,
Howie was awesome.
Howie, legendary.
Yeah.
3-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, Pro Football Hall of Fame, 13 years with the Raiders. Chris, 11 years in the NFL, Super Bowl champion in back-to-back seasons with New England and Philadelphia. Kyle, 3 straight Pro Bowls with the Bears.
Pretty good.
That's That's pretty good.
I mean, Howie was, I'm sure, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes, I think would have to be.
Yeah.
Would have to be. Number 3, Ed and Christian McCaffrey.
Very good.
You want to talk about an offensive dynamic duo.
Sure.
Ed McCaffrey, for those who might be too young, if you're about my age or younger to remember, 13 seasons in the NFL, started with the Giants, but mostly with John Elway and the Broncos. 3-time Super Bowl champion. He was an All-Pro, 55 touchdowns in his career, and of course, Christian, maybe the best running back of his generation.
I'd say Tim and Henry.
Multiple time first-team All-Pro.
Right. Phenomenal receiver
and running back. One of the more electric players of his generation.
And his brother's on the Commanders right now, too.
His brother is on the Commanders.
He's not holding any weight.
No. Not compared to those two.
No, he's Connor Hayward at the moment.
Number 2 and number 1 were really difficult to decide between, but name cachet obviously plays into this as well, too. But at number 2, I have Jackie and Matthew Slater.
Okay.
Matt, 17 Pro Bowl selections between the two of them.
I'm sure. Now, one's a special teamer.
That's what kind of pushed him over the top for me. But Jackie, Hall of Famer,
Jackie's awesome, right? 20
seasons in the league, 7-time Pro Bowler. His number is retired. His son, one of the great special teamers in NFL history. 5-time first-team All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, and, of course, won 3 Super Bowls with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
It's awesome, right?
In terms of just accolades on a sheet of paper,
right? It's
hard to top those two as father and son.
The only negative is he's a special teamer. It's like the Hall of Fame conversation.
Correct.
Do they belong in the Hall of
Fame? 5-time All-Pro
Right.
as a special teamer
he was the best one,
and the 3 Super Bowl rings as well too.
No, that's a good point too.
I could easily argue for them to be bumped down the list, but when you combine the rings, the All-Pros, the Pro Bowls of those two, it's jumps off the page.
Daddy's probably better than people realize. I mean, he
one
was
of the better offensive linemen in NFL history.
Yeah.
And then Matt, I'm sure you can figure out who's at the top of the list.
Sure,
but it's Archie, Peyton. And you throw in Eli for a bonus
no doubt.
as well, too. I know Archie was a perennial loser with New Orleans, but he was also
a great player, though.
He was also a great player. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler, despite being on a team that never had a winning record. He made the Pro Bowl multiple times. And then, of course, Peyton Manning, 5 NFL MVPs, most in league history, 14 Pro Bowls, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Eli, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time Pro Bowler. Like the first family of football.
Mm-hmm. And their quarterbacks. Yeah.
And maybe he's looking a little better these last month or so. Maybe Arch Manning will throw his name into this conversation, although he's not
teaser
sons,
for later, maybe, right?
He's nephews, but still.
I was going to bring that up because people don't remember. Like when I was taught to be a football fan by like my uncle, my dad, et cetera, they're like, this poor Manning dude with the Saints. I mean, if he was with any other team, he'd be getting accolades. I mean, they were wearing bags on their heads back then. They were the Aints. I mean, they were the worst organization ever. I mean, they were like the Steelers before Chuck Noll got there at that point. He was like the only good player.
He never had a winning record as the starting quarterback of the Saints.
I don't doubt it.
And was still a multiple Pro Bowler.
But that's where the athleticism comes from. Grandpa is a super athlete. Cooper was a wideout athlete.
And they say he might have been better than Peyton and Eli, if he would have been healthy.
So Arch gets it from Grandpa. I mean, I'm sure there's some females that have contributed to the bloodlines too, but right.
Have you ever watched, I think it was like an ESPN 30 for 30 a while ago. It was called The Book of Manning. It's so good.
I think so, yeah.
So good. And if you're a football junkie, it's worth your time.
Yeah.
My top 2.
But everyone knows the brothers. I just wanted to give Dad some credit there, too.
Top 1, number 1, I'm very confident in.
Yeah.
Top couple after that, like 2, 3, and 4, I'm pretty confident in. It's tough, though.
I mean, there's a handful that have to be in the top 10.
I hope people enjoyed this. I hope people have opinions on this. Get at us on Twitter. Get at us in the comments.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I had fun spending like a half an hour sipping my coffee, putting this together and thinking about it. And looking up how many Pro Bowls did this guy go to? Well, he went to 6. Oh, this guy went to 8.
Yeah.
You know, especially some of I knew Jackie Slater was good. I didn't know how good he was.
Oh,
some of those type of like
that era.
I knew Steve Jordan was good. I didn't know how good he was.
He was a really good player. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. These are some of the better players of the late 70s, early 80s.
Like you, I didn't know George Adams was Jamal Adams' dad. Figured that one out here. I knew DK Metcalf's dad played in the NFL because I remembered somebody making a reference to that when the Steelers traded for him, but I didn't know that his dad was really good in the NFL as well too. They were on the honorable mention list.
He was an offensive lineman.
Yes.
His nickname's Pork Chop.
Pork Chop. You gotta be pretty.
Pork Chop Metcalf.
You gotta be pretty good to have.
Yeah. He was like 340-pound guard. Right.
A nickname that cool. So Matt, how did I do? Pretty good. You like that?
Real good.
You like that as a curveball today for Best of the West?
Yeah, and then there's like Joe Alt's dad played in the league. He's too young, but
there's a couple that could be on the way.
Yeah, that are kind of like the Porter situation, where Daddy's. Maybe Asante Samuel.
I was just going to say if
Asante
Samuel Jr. hadn't had his injury setbacks and was continuing along the trajectory that he had, they might be on this list or in the honorable mentions. If Marvin Harrison Jr. would kind of live up to his,
he doesn't even have to be great for.
No, if he's just good, they'll be on this. They'll be on this.
He'll be on that list. I mean, yeah, he could be real high on this list. Just have a 8-year career, go to 2 Pro Bowls, and you're fighting for one of the top spots.
Right, and don't look now, but I think Chris Henry Jr. could be a future Hall of Fame type wide receiver. His dad was all right in the pros. That could be, that could be another one that makes it to the list if Chris Henry Jr. is as outstanding and dynamic as he looks. But yeah, like the Surtains, the Humphreys, some of these were really fun to look into.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, Bum and Wade Phillips, Mike and Kyle Shanahan. And I had to throw in the Hockley's in there for a joke as well, too.
I bet I'll come up with more as I'm just kicking it around. Like
Maybe,
tomorrow, I'm like, how do we not put this guy on there? Right.
If you think of any tonight or after the show or anything,
you'll be getting a text at some point.
When you're on the bourbon at 11:45 tonight, shoot me a text. Maybe one day too. Maybe one of our kids, Matt, will get into this radio hosting thing, and we'll do a best of the West.
There you go.
We'll do a best of the West.
Hillgroves.
The Hillgroves.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Is there any out there that do like what we're doing?
Although that skipped a generation because Jack is, of course. But,
good point.
But still, that's a good one. That's a pretty good one. A lot of fun putting that list together, and hopefully you all enjoyed some flashbacks and some trips down memory lane with some of those fathers and some of their sons. Best of the West, top NFL parent-son duos. When we return on the other side, I want to kind of stick with the
Michael Pittman Jr. and his dad weren't bad.
Good one.
His dad was a good running back. Not a great running back, but a good running back.
No, they should have probably been mentioned amongst my honorable mentions. That's a good one. We're going to keep throwing
there'll
these
be
out.
a million more,
Keep throwing these out throughout the show. I've got a kind of piggybacking off of this. Every Wednesday, we do a brief conversation at the end of the hour, Matt, where we talk about which player we would steal from the other team if we could.
Mm-hmm.
I want to...
I think we started it with the Bengals.
We did.
It hasn't changed. But
I don't want when you do the same team a second time around, it's the same conversation. I've got an interesting twist that I want to put on for you when we return on the other side.
Okay.
I'll tell you. And
there's one thing I'd throw in that different now than then too.
Okay. So let's talk about both of those things when we return. I love it. We'll do all that and more as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here, closing down the first hour of the program. We will catch up with Chris Halicke in hour number 2, talk a little bit more about Asante Samuel Jr., Will Howard, everything moving and shaking down there on the south side. We will go around campus in hour number 2 as well for what might be the beefiest, most exciting around campus segment of the year so far.
Seems to be a lot of quarterback scuttlebutt with the college pros.
A whole bunch.
Yeah.
A whole bunch. And will they...
Who's coming in, who's going out. I mean, that kind of stuff, too. Arch's playing better,
Made a Led Zeppelin reference at the top of the hour. Now at the bottom of the hour, it's time for The Clash reference. Should I stay or should I go?
No, that's exactly what's going on.
Many of these quarterbacks asking themselves that. And so we will deep dive into that all in hour number 2. But before we get to any and all of that, Matt, I wanted to put a little twist on our weekly pick a player conversation since it's the second time that we were having this about the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
But first, you want to give me your new thoughts?
Yeah, just one more name that I don't even know I brought up last time, or if I did, it was in passing. DJ Turner's really good, and he's cheap. And
good one.
I mean, they just signed Samuel, but could use a second corner on a rookie contract that runs a 4.2 flat.
Mm-hmm.
And considering Hendrickson's season has been rocky, to be kind. I mean, he's just not in and all that. Turner's like the only bright spot on the defense.
Yes.
I mean, he's a good player.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Hendrickson's been in and out of the lineup. The first-round pick, Shamir Stewart, hasn't really flashed much.
Shown up much. Right.
I do think the obvious answer is Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. I mean, it's Jamar Chase. You'll pay him whatever. Who cares?
Yep. And that is the answer.
But that's a good kind of follow-up by you. I think that's fair.
Those are usually kind of who I'm looking for.
And especially at a
young,
position,
cheap guys.
Young, cheap, and position of need. That's kind of like the trifecta that you're looking for.
Or in positions that are hard to find.
Yes. And maybe Chase checks 2 of those 3 boxes.
Mm-hmm. He's just not cheap.
But understandably so. I think you'd pay for that production. Matt, here's the twist that I want to put on it for you. As you are, and I mean this in the best way possible with all compliments, you are a resident football dork.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you, you could take a player from the Cincinnati Bengals organization and put him on the Steelers. Any Cincinnati player in franchise history. I think I know where you're going to go. I think he plays offensive line, and I think his first name is Anthony.
There's only 2 choices. It's him or Chase.
You would Chase over Ocho Cinco. Yeah.
Or over Carl Pickens was a good player.
I would think, man, Ocho Cinco with DK Metcalf combining. Ocho Cinco is like a George Pickens, but more consistent. And like he'd be the downfield contested catch back shoulder guy.
But Chase is better.
You're right. Chase is better.
Chase is going to the Hall of Fame.
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Johnson isn't. I mean, I didn't put all of it in the stat pack because there's a ton, but like all the stuff Chase is on pace to do career-wise is Randy Moss stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But Munoz,
maybe the best offensive lineman ever.
Yeah. Like, I bet if Tunch and Wolf were sitting here, because he's just a smidge older than them, but not much. I mean, they're contemporaries. Might say Munoz, I know they'd probably say Webby, but they'd say Munoz is the best offensive tackle that ever lived, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and
I think you can make a fair argument that he's the best offensive tackle that ever lived.
Yeah. Now, I'm a little partial to the Walter Joneses and Ogdens and Pace. I mean, there's been some great ones since then, don't get me wrong, because I studied them more and I was smarter when I watched them than when I was 6, you know what I mean? And people just told me he was great, but that's the conversation between one of those two. I guess you take Munoz.
I like how you threw Chase in there because I wasn't really considering it, but you're right. I mean, he already is a top 5 player in the history of that franchise.
I mean, we're not allowed to take quarterbacks. I would take Burrow just because he's a quarterback.
We've kind of, no quarterbacks.
Kenny Anderson and Palmer. No, I mean, I think they're not allowed.
No, hey, Boomer Esiason.
He's all right. They haven't had bad quarterbacks. Yeah.
Well, what about Chris Collinsworth? Huh? A little Chris Collinsworth on this team now. Here's a guy. Mike Tomlin will walk into film every week, and Chris Collinsworth will be sitting off to the side going, now here's a guy.
So I guess this is my last chance to do this since they're not going to play the Bengals again this year. But Dale and I kind of had a little thing going where it was like 5 years ago. The Bengals put out their top 50 Bengals list of all time.
Oh, gosh.
It's terrible.
It's.
I mean, it's gotten a lot better
lately. After you get out of
lately.
like the top 5, 10, it's probably not very good.
John Breach, the kicker, was like 7.
Yeah.
And he's not even like considered like one of the best kickers of all time. He was fine. He lasted 10 years. I mean, like Geno Atkins was like 3. I mean, like it's Ocho Cinco's like top 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if now there was like Burrow, Chase, Higgins, some of those guys that are recent weren't quite relevant yet or were too new. But we had this thing going like, man, how many of them would even make the Steelers top 50?
Like probably 3 or 4?
7 maybe.
Yeah,
you know, like if you did a
5
top,
or 7.
Yeah, if you did a top 50 combining the teams, it would be at least 80% Steelers.
At least.
I mean, at least.
Yeah.
And we're getting into like Levon Kirkland would be in the top 10 for sure.
This might be
He might be 40th on the Steelers list.
At some
and
point,
he's great.
At some point in the offseason when we're like looking for content to fill, we might have to do like a
combined top 10 or
a starting lineup for like around the division and who wins, who beats who's got the best, and then maybe from there we could expand it to like other AFC teams.
I saw one recently, and by that I mean in the last year. Someone put together an all AFC or NFC North team.
Ooh,
which is kind of interesting. Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
Now, it gets a little hairy. Like, should the Oilers be in there?
4-3 or 3-4.
Well, that kind of stuff, too.
Should the Oilers be in there? Should the Jags be in there?
How do the Ravens/Browns work?
How do the Ravens/Colts work?
Right.
Yeah.
I think you just do it from the 4 teams that are in it now.
Modern era, like 2002 or 2003, whenever the NFL last redid divisions.
Not even from then on. Like, Jim Brown would be eligible.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, but
just the 4
anyone
teams
that was
in
able,
the division
you
now.
had to play
so
for
no
the Browns.
Houston, no Jacksonville,
right.
no Indianapolis.
I mean, Steelers and Bengals are easy because they never moved or left the league.
Sure.
So anyone in their history, anyone that wore black and purple in Baltimore, and anyone that's worn brown colors.
I like this exercise.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that to my list of off-season content. In fact,
like
I'm
we'll
going to
be
do that
fighting
right
over
now.
like Lamar or Bradshaw or Ben. I mean, every position's hard. I mean, even if you just do 2 teams, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard enough to do the Steelers top.
One selection of it will be very easy. Troy and Ed for safety. Boom, done. No more conversation needed. But there might be some conversation needed if we actually stopped and thought about it.
Right, I'm saying there's probably other good ones. I mean,
there's probably some other really good ones when we go in and.
But like Jim Brown's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah.
You know, like sorry Franco, sorry Lev, sorry Derrick Henry. You know, and some of them it's also like, well, he only was there 2 years. I'm not gonna weigh those as much. Like Kevin Green, or you know.
Yes. Or no, absolutely. Or a Derrick Henry's a good example in that regard as well too.
Right.
I like that, Matt.
Yeah.
I like that.
Think of the defense you just put together with Steelers and Ravens.
We might have to expand upon that a little bit. Oh, your Steelers, you could put together a defense of Steelers and Ravens that would probably go toe-to-toe with the other 30 teams, all defense around the NFL. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe that'll be another fun thing we can do in the offseason.
Oh, no
Pick
doubt.
your starting Steelers and Ravens 11 on defense, then the rest of the league, and who's got the better unit. I mean, it'd probably be the rest of the league, but it would be close.
It'd be comparable, though. I mean, they'd be able to hang. So I also, when we do that, of the 4 teams, and I bet if this was in Baltimore, Cincy, or Cleveland, if they were honest with themselves, they'd do the same thing. Steelers will still have more than 50%.
Yes.
I mean, they're still going to dominate.
Yes.
Like, fun exercise, too. Would the Steelers' best 22 beat the other 3 teams combined?
Write all this down. Right,
People remind us,
in the middle
right?
of June, this is what we're going when we got nothing to
Right.
talk about between mini camp and the start of training
I mean,
camp.
like those 3 teams are like, do I want Munoz, Joe Thomas, or Ogden as my 2 tackles? And the Steelers would be not that good at tackle, but
we could do
we got all the
21st
centers.
We could do 21st century Steelers team versus 20th century Steelers team.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean,
This sounds like a lot of what we did during COVID, but it's a lot of
right.
fun. It's a lot
People
of fun
remind
to
us
do.
of this stuff, right?
Hour in the books, another hour to go. We'll get into some of Matt's stats. We'll talk to Chris Halicke. We'll go around campus, all that good stuff in hour number 2. Dang, Matt's got my wheels spinning.
Oh, yeah.
We put together a starting 11 for all 32 teams and power rank them. That would take us like a week to do.
Oh, that's a bigger job than
That's a pretty big.
like whoever does this.
But
job
who would it be for like Jacksonville, your all-time starting 11?
Wow, right,
Carolina.
right. Oh, there's some dudes that are borderline. Last note: there's some lunatic that does this for every draft pick. The best 200th pick overall.
Love it.
I mean, some of them are terrible, but some of them are incredible.
Yeah.
Like the top ones are hard.
Yeah, who's the best number 1 pick overall? I mean,
Right,
kids,
right.
the answer is...
I mean, some might be Peyton Manning's hard to beat, or there's tons.
I was like, the answer is, and then I was like,
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of good ones.
And then there's some like wherever Joe Montana got picked in the 3rd round, well, it's him,
Tom Brady in the 6th.
But there might be
Antonio Brown in the 6th.
Yeah, a couple of those are easy, but maybe
The 7th overall pick of all time is probably like 4 different Hall of Famers.
no doubt.
Yeah.
But like the 222nd might have like nobody.
Matt Williamson from Mount Lebo. Remember
Right.
that guy? Halfway home on the drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 of the drive here on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson rolling along, and we go to the phone lines. They blah, 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 blah. Easy for me to say. We go to the phone lines now for catching up with our buddy Chris Halicke, of course, of DK Pittsburgh Sports. Plenty that we want to get into with you, Chris. Thank you for taking the time, as always, partner. Let's kind of start from the top. Asante Samuel Jr. added to the Steelers practice squad last night. Your thoughts on that move, and does it seem more like more of a chance he could start to be in the fold next week against Chicago, or do you think there is maybe even a chance he could get elevated to the active roster this week?
Well, I mean, we saw Kyle Duggar, come in, hit the ground running, and
That's a good point.
starting
Yeah.
out. Obviously, he was, acquired and was immediately placed on the active roster. So, but Asante Samuel, he gets here. It's Wednesday. He's going to get a full week's worth of the game plan in terms of practice. First full week of practice. He'll be part of the game plan process. So I don't want to completely shut the door on it. Now he is a member of the practice squad, so what they have to do, and obviously that there would be roster hurdles to make. Not that it's anything completely out of the ordinary. They can elevate him. They don't have to necessarily sign him to the active roster right away. You're allowed to elevate, I think, up to 3 times. So you can elevate him, see how things go. Continue to evaluate. It's a very low risk move for the Steelers if he turns into anything close to the player that he was before. I mean, you look at those first 3 seasons, 6 interceptions, a lot of passes defense. He's a really physical guy, a guy who would, again, when we were talking about free agency way back in February and March, I mean, he was probably one of the top corners listed, on a lot of websites. And so, this is a player where, he had a significant surgery But is it worth the risk of, especially when you're getting him on the practice squad pretty much for nothing? Absolutely, it's worth the risk.
I'm sure you did. I mean, you're thorough at what you do, but it sounds like you did some work on him, before his injury. And I did as well. And if you get that guy, I think he's a starter here.
He could be. I mean, when you look at the Steelers' current situation, when you look at, Slay's in concussion protocol, and you look at James Pierre, who, should be fair to James Pierre, he's played well when he's been out.
I was going to bring him up to you. I've been impressed lately.
Yeah, he's been probably the best, most consistent play we've seen from him when he's actually played corner. We know that he's already an accomplished special teams player, but it's one thing to be good on special teams, it's another thing to be really good on defense. And he's been really, really solid. Now, could you aim higher there? If your goals are to try to win a Super Bowl, yes, you absolutely can aim higher there. And so if you think that Samuel, or it appears that Samuel can possibly be anything close to who he was before the injury, before he had to have the surgery, then you're talking about an outside corner duo of potentially, if Slay is out for any kind of length of time, because concussions are always unpredictable, Joey Porter Jr. and Asante Samuel Jr., that's a pretty good duo. Then you consider what you have right now at safety, which has currently been stabilized by, Kyle Duggar and moving Jalen Ramsey over there. So it's definitely interesting. And the one thing that this gives the secondary, no matter what, is just more depth, more flexibility, which when you consider the hits that they've taken, Deshaun Elliott, Lord knows how long he's going to be out. When you consider all the hits that they've taken, they need as many quality options as possible. And I think it's definitely interesting to see if Samuel is going to be somebody who either provides you some really good depth or really turns back into the guy that he was before, which would be an amazing development for the Steelers.
It's pretty remarkable, the secondary now from 365 days ago.
It really is.
I mean, it's like
it really is
80% different.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think when people see that, they appreciate the change. Maybe that they see that, okay, things were really bad, and they were really bad down the stretch. Then there was change needed. But I think sometimes people think that it's just like playing Madden, and you can just swap guys out, and you can just go out there and call whatever coverage from your playbook, and guys are just going to play it like they're video game athletes. It's not the way it works. I mean, these guys have to learn complex languages, really, from one defense to the next. So it's not as simple as just plug and play. There's a lot of nuance and complexities to all these different defenses and playbooks and systems. And so, it's going to be really interesting to see, how this continues to evolve with all the changes happening. But it's pretty remarkable to see the changes happened.
Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Elliott and Joey Porter Jr. really the only holdovers, and one of those guys has been unavailable due to injury, unfortunately, most of the year. It certainly has come a long way in 365 days, or even less. Just, since really last February, March. Chris, sticking with some of this similar conversation, practice today, Broderick Jones not in uniform for practice today. Just something maintenance-wise, something rest-wise, or might there be some greater concern there?
It's kind of early to tell in the week right now. We'll have to see. We'll have to monitor it. When you consider the inconsistent performance, maybe it's just like, hey, take a day, or maybe he's dealing with something. So it's like, it's not worth. We can't afford to lose this guy. He needs to continue to play, needs to continue to develop. So, we'll see what happens. It's kind of early in the week I haven't heard anything like, oh yeah, he's definitely not playing on Sunday. I haven't heard anything on that regard or anything, but I wouldn't start freaking out over it yet, but it's going to be interesting to see how fans react because, Broderick continuously probably gets the most criticism of all the offensive linemen. But if he ends up not playing Sunday, I'm curious to see if fans are going to be like, oh God, what's going to happen now? Left tackle. It's like, well, I thought, you get one of the guy replaced. Well, here you go. He's not going to be playing. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But, we'll see what happens, what happens. I think he's at least played enough where if he can get, at least 1 day's worth of practice, I think, he'd get clearance to play. But, we'll have to see how much leeway he gets from Mike Tomlin.
So heck with 365 days ago with the secondary. The secondary is noticeably different from when they faced the Bengals last a couple of weeks ago. I mean, other than the people covering Chase and Higgins, do you see – obviously that didn't go so great. Do you see any – is there any suggestions you would make? Less blitz, more zone, different personnel. I mean, they've made a lot of defensive changes since then.
They have. I mean, it's hard to say like what I would do, because if I was a defensive coordinator in the NFL, I'd be fired faster than I was hired.
Sure, all of us would, but right, yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, obviously, what they did last time did not work. Now that
right.
you're like, well, duh, Chris. But at the same time, you say that to be like, okay, well, whatever you did last time, you cannot do anything remotely close to it again. So. Yes, that means blitzing less often. Yes, that might mean more zone coverage. I don't think it should be. I understand that like Zach Taylor's offense and Shane Steichen's offense are different from each other, but and Terrell was clear to point that out, because when he was talking about, during that week leading up to, I think it was leading up to playing the Bengals and Joe Flacco, having seen them the year before when Flacco was playing under Steichen for the Colts, he was saying, he was asked, like, can you look at that game to study Flacco? He was like, no, because it's two different offenses. Well, at the same time, there are some similarities to what they do, and what you did against the Colts works. Now, the Colts don't have the receiving threats that the Bengals have. Almost no team in the NFL does.
Right.
So what you have to try to figure out is what's the best way to put a ceiling on these guys. Now, it's not completely neutralizing them, but I think about like, okay, when they played the Vikings, Justin Jefferson had a good game. I mean, he had a lot of catches, he had a lot of yards, but did anybody watching that game ever think that Justin Jefferson was taking that game over?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
No.
You look at his stats, you're like, wow, I'm kind of surprised he had that many catches for that many yards, but there was never that feeling that he was taking over the game. That's obviously not what happened in Cincinnati. Jamar Chase took the game over and pretty much won the game single-handedly. That's what you don't want to have happen. So what you have to do at that point is call whatever coverages you need to at least limit their impact, not allow them to take over the game, and then hope on the other side that your offense is able to at least repeat the performance that they had against that same Cincinnati defense. That's actually minus Logan Wilson now, since he was traded to Dallas, and hope that they can perform just as good, if not better, so that you can at least try to outscore them if Chase and Higgins still have some pretty decent days.
Well, if you're going to have to outscore them, you're going to have to do a lot differently on offense than the Steelers did Sunday night at SoFi, that's for sure. And Chris, while there's a lot of moving parts there, I don't think I'm, breaking any news either to say that it starts with the quarterback. It starts with Aaron Rodgers. It seems like every week Matt and I have a ton of conversation about Aaron Rodgers. And the first month and a half or so of the season, it was all really positive conversation. The last few weeks, there's been some more concern in that conversation. Where you at on the Steelers signal caller after, he just admitted, I believe he called it a stinker when he met with the media, when he met with you guys today, after his latest performance or last couple performances haven't quite been the same strong start to the season we saw him have.
I haven't been as concerned about Aaron until this past week. Now, I'll go with the Mike Tomlin logic here and say, the whole two is a pattern thing, and I don't believe I'm at the two is a pattern yet. I don't think the performance against the Colts was that alarming of a performance, or any kind of performance, or any performance in any game. I honestly think the issues have been more about not the team not getting into advantageous third down situations, and that makes life hard on any quarterback. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or if you're a four-time MVP who's played more than 2 decades in the NFL. That is never an easy way to live when you're playing in this league, is if you're putting yourself in third and long quite a bit. And the Steelers right now rank 22nd in the NFL in distance to go on third down. So you don't that's not a position you want to be in. You want to be in more advantageous situations. So I wonder, will we see the Steelers make a more concerted effort to try to run the ball on first and second down? Now, sometimes fans will hear that and you'd be like, the last thing we need to do is turn into a run-pass team. Well, the thing is, the Steelers are not a run-pass team right now.
Mm-mm.
You look at their run rate on first down, it's bottom third of the league. They don't run the ball a lot on first down. They run the ball 52% of the time. That's less than the league average of 54%. The Bills are right at the top of the league, and they're well over 60% of the time they're running on first down. And when you look at what Jaylen Warren's able to do on first down, he's got a 55% success rate on first down. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry on first down. So it's working when you do run it with him, so why not do it a little bit more? That might help turn 1st and 10 into 2nd and 6 a little bit more often. And 2nd and 6 will get you either another first down, or it could put you in 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. And that's a lot easier to convert than 3rd and 7, which is what they're averaging right now. So, yeah, when it comes to Aaron's performance, this past week was bad. I mean, there were some missed throws that just can't be there. I saw too much of the same kind of thing where if he would get hurried a lot early in the game and even take some hits like he did this again, when he was with the Jets last year, he would just get rattled, and he'd get to the point where, if the first read's not there, like the play's over. Like there's no hope for anything to really happen. And then he tries to force things to happen. That's what ended up happening throughout the game on Sunday night. I'm not as concerned about Aaron's performance until we see it. Like if he goes out there on Sunday against the Bengals and plays like that again, that's when you start to get concerned. But I think that performance was significantly worse than anything else we've seen this season, which is hilarious because that's not even the worst grade that he got from PFF, which is the New England
more
game
about
was their
PFF.
worst one to him.
Yeah,
which is hilarious to me.
You kind of beat me to it, but I was gonna, really. I've been driving home the time of possession thing all week, and it's really been all year. But there's so many reasons to be poor in time of possession, but I think step one is just run the football a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just rattled off those stats, and I understand, sometimes it sounds like I think people live in the world of this is the way the Steelers have been, and Arthur Smith has this, ancient offense. It's not, and that's not what the Steelers are doing right now. They're not running as an ancient offense. They're not running the ball a lot on first down. Maybe you should more often. And the last thing, and the one thing that I've seen, is I can't wait to see that 2nd and 8 run again. Well, best way to get out of 2nd and 8 on a more consistent basis is to do the things that you do well on first down. And right now, Jaylen Warren does some really good things on first down running the football. And you don't have to run it every single time. I'm not saying that your run rate on first down needs to be 90%. Mm-hmm. But should you be running it a little bit more often? Yeah, I think so. Especially, you found some, this team has found some successful ways to run the ball, whether it's with the jumbo package, whether it's, through, certain concepts that they've called whenever they have their normal, whatever, 12 or 13 personnel on the field, whatever it is. They've found some successful ways to run the ball, and Jaylen Warren's been more successful than you look at his overall season stats. It's he's been a really good running back, but he's going under the radar because he's not being used enough. And so I do think that he needs to get more touches. I think he needs to get more carries. I think they need to make a more concerted effort to run the ball on first and second down. Again, that doesn't mean run the ball every single time on first and second down, but man, I think when a team is struggling, especially to convert on third downs, what you need to make sure is either, number one, do what you can do to avoid third down altogether, or at least when you do get to third down, make it 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, something that is a lot more manageable and a lot easier to convert. And right now they're not doing that. They're putting themselves in holes either because of penalties or more often because they're throwing too much on first down, and they're throwing too much. And that puts you in 2nd and long if it doesn't convert. So it's important to be able to set that tone and be able to run the ball.
Here. Great stuff as always with our buddy Chris Halicke. taking some time on a busy Wednesday. Buddy, thank you. Great stuff as always, and we will see you this weekend.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime, partner. Thank you. There he goes, Chris Halicke. And, I mean, he's absolutely spot on a lot of that stuff. And that's something I'm hoping to see moving in the right direction this Sunday against those Cincinnati Bengals. Matt, let's get to a break here. When we come back on the other side, Rodney Dangerfield time.
Okay.
John Blutarski time. We're going to go around campus. Grab a brew. It don't cost nothing. Here on The Drive, Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back to school to prove to Matt that I'm not a fool. I got my lunch packed up, my boots tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight. That's from Billy Madison. It is time to go around campus here. We're not going that back to school like Adam Sandler.
A lot of names on this list.
And Billy Madison did. But, Matt, we have got a beefy.
It's the first time we got 3 pages.
3 pages. How about that?
Right.
On the Around Campus packet this week. We've gotten all kinds of tweets and messages and comments about this. I told you last week I went and checked my Instagram DMs, which I typically never do, maybe once or twice a year. And there were like a dozen of you in my Instagram DMs like, talk about Hayes King. Talk about Brendan Sorsby. Talk about Sawyer Robertson. Well, folks, ask and you shall receive. Is this is getting a lot of fun as the road is narrowing. More and more people are putting their hat into the ring of this conversation.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about, I think there's more and more conversation around, too, like could the Dante Moores, the Lenore Sellers of the world, could they come back for another year? Even someone like Ty.
Seems like a long shot.
Even like because they're going to be first-round picks.
I mean, I think they go back.
You think they go back?
I do, just because I think they'll make so much money next year in college.
It's tough.
I don't know. I mean, they would be first-round picks, though.
It's tough. And like Ty Simpson as well, too, you know. Fernando Mendoza is the only one right now that I say is coming out. No doubt.
Yeah.
And then some of these guys like Hayes King has to. You know, some of these guys that have to come out, that's a different story as well, too. Carson Beck has to.
Right. I don't know if you know this, and then I just learned today because we did a segment on a different show that Simpson right now is the betting favorite to be first pick overall.
Yes.
And Mendoza's right behind him. But still, that's pretty crazy, right?
He's started 9 or 10 games in his entire college football career.
Yeah.
Now, he's done very well in them. He's
of course, right.
But he's got 9 starts in his college football career.
At least Vegas thinks he is coming out. But, I mean, Moore and Sellers are on the list, too. But
Off the top of my head, I can't remember a first overall quarterback pick that was a 1-year. Because even people throw Joe Burrow out there all the time. Cam Newton might be the one. I mean,
but
Joe Burrow started for LSU
Trubisky
the year
didn't
before.
start many games.
True.
I don't know how many years they were. Haskins was very little. Trubisky was very little.
Haskins is a good one.
Cam
Newton was 1 year.
That era before everyone was transferring, it wasn't that uncommon.
Yeah,
and hardly anybody did well.
That's a good point. But like Mahomes was multi-year.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys now, like the Sam Darnolds and the Baker Mayfields and the Jaden Daniels and like. They're multi-year, a lot of them multi-school.
Yeah,
you see on this packet here, more than 50% of the guys are multi-school guys. And so, it is always a lot of moving parts in this regard. But, Matt, here's what we know.
Okay.
Let's start with Fernando Mendoza because he's definitely coming out. He's definitely going to be a top 10 pick.
Yes.
Did not have his best game against Penn State, but he did the thing that we like to see. Poise, accuracy, despite not having his best day, led his team to a win in a big moment in Happy Valley in front of that crowd. I know Penn State is not what everybody thought they were going to be this year, but they still got some dudes on that defense.
They still have good football players.
Yes,
right.
They've got good football players, and even when it's not 110,000, maybe there's 20,000 empty seats there, it's still 90,000 people going nuts, tough atmosphere to play in. 19 of 30, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also did run for 20 yards and a score as well.
And he got the win.
But he got the win and made some big-time throws with some big-time pressure in his face down the stretch. I like seeing that from him because so far for most of this season, everything's gone according to plan. It didn't go according to plan on Saturday, and he still found a way to get it done.
And it won't in the playoffs, and there'll be there are obstacles ahead. I would think, I mean, I haven't studied these guys or watched every snap of that game, that scouts did not move him backwards because of that game.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Dante Moore, remember, left the game against Wisconsin a couple weeks ago early in the third quarter with a kind of clothesline, looked like a head-type injury, then had a bye week, returned to action, didn't have his best performance, but again, tough spot, on the road, top 20 game in Iowa, crazy environment, and he took his team down the field to kick a field goal and win it at the end despite rainy, crappy conditions, made some impressive drives. Didn't throw any touchdowns, had an interception, only 112 yards passing and 46 yards on the ground. But their number one receiver was out. Like I said, it was just...
Wasn't Mendoza's receiver out too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, meant to mention that. Thank you. Coming back off of an injury, crappy weather, on the road against a top 20 team. Everybody knows Iowa, tough place to play, always have a good defense.
I mean, well coached, they're always going to be hard to play against.
He did the same kind of Mendoza, not quite to the extent that Mendoza did, but at the end of the game, when they're in the huddle and the team's all looking to him, we need to drive and we need points right here, we're going to lose. He got it done, drove them down the field in the pouring down rain to get into field goal position and win that game.
Okay.
Still very high on him, but he is definitely, for me, you want to be the 6th overall pick, or do you want to come back to Oregon and make $12 million and win a national championship?
Yeah.
And then maybe be the 1st overall pick.
And frankly, I understand both sides.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Lenore Sellers, coming off a bye week. He's another one that we've talked about. This year has not gone according to plan for him or according to South Carolina. Maybe off the bye week, he can stabilize a little bit down the stretch because next week they've got another huge test. They go to number 3, Texas A&M. Pardon me. I'm getting that wrong. He's coming off of his bye week. This week is a huge test. They go to Texas A&M. Sorry,
okay.
I kind of conflated that. He's coming off of a bye week, so nothing new to report, but a massive test on the road in College Station there at Kyle Field that you've described before as the crazy atmosphere against the number 3 team in the country.
I'd be shocked if he comes out.
I would too, but if you look at a lot of those mock drafts, they still have him going in the top 20.
That's the thing. I mean, all these guys are going to have this balancing act of, do I go back, make a nice buck, and
enjoy college life, be a kid for another year,
and fight with Arch, an Ohio State guy, and I mean, there might be more competition at the top last year.
No doubt.
Or does he look at it like, well, Moore went back, so I should go to the league because that's one less guy to fight with this year. You know what I mean?
Second quarterback taken.
Right. That'll be fun.
I think I think so too. That's going to be fun to does Ty Simpson declare early? Mm-hmm. Does Dante Moore declare early? Does that affect somebody like Lenore Sellers? That's stuff that, when we get to January, we will absolutely be keeping an eye on. Speaking of Ty Simpson, let's go to him. 277 yards, a touchdown, 0 interceptions, and a 20-9 win over LSU. Didn't light it up, Matt, but impressive touch. He's accurate. And against what I think is one of the more underrated, like LSU, they fired their coach. They've had a lot go wrong this year, but I still think that's a top 10 defense in college football.
Kind of like the Penn State conversation. They still have big, fast, strong guys.
He was surgical. He was accurate. He has impressive touch. And, 277 yards and a touchdown. Confident, professional performance against LSU.
Okay. So no reason to go backwards on any of these guys.
Continues to check boxes. Let's talk about Jaden Miava. He's an interesting one for me, the USC quarterback.
Yeah, it's getting some first-round buzz.
He is, there's some Josh Allen elements to his game.
Okay.
He doesn't like getting sacked, and he's good at not getting sacked. He can extend plays. He can find guys downfield. He rolled in a 38-17 win over Northwestern. He's calm when the pocket breaks down. His decision-making is really strong. And, Matt, one thing that I love to see, he threw an interception in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he did?
I'm reading it now, but
chased the guy down that threw the interception and forced a fumble at the goal line.
So great.
Hit the guy, fumbled it into the end zone. That's the kind of effort stuff you love to see.
Sign me up.
His most negative play of the game, he chased the dude down, forced a fumble at the goal line after throwing an interception. Love to see it.
Does he have to come out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't.
I
think
this is transfer
because he went to UNLV and is now 2 years at USC. So I think he has one more year of eligibility after this. Trinidad Chambliss is another one of these interesting guys. I think he's going to return to Ole Miss. But what if Lane Kiffin takes a different job? What if he continues to rise up some boards like he has they played the Citadel. I mean, they just absolutely
not a lot to take away from this past week.
Yeah, they just absolutely dominated a bad team. But he's crisp, he's smart, he's athletic. He's got the dual kind of threat, can pull it down and move with his legs. Good decision making, has avoided costly mistakes for most of the season.
Little on the small side, though.
Little on the small side, 6'1", 200 pounds. He's another one of those guys that I was kind of telling you yesterday. While I think the first round prospect group here might be shrinking, that kind of day 2 group is growing, and I think he's firmly in that conversation.
Okay.
Let's talk about Hayes King. He's the one we've got.
Is he in that conversation? Is he in that same neck of the woods? Okay.
Absolutely. He's going to be 25 before we even get to the combine. He's going to be 25 in January. It's his 6th year in college football. He was 3 years at A&M, now 3 years at Georgia Tech. They had a bye week, so nothing new on him. But they lost to NC State last week, and he was excellent in that loss. I mean, like threw for over 400 yards, ran for 100 yards, accounted for all their touchdowns. They lost like
one-man show.
They lost like 48-35, but he put up all 30. I mean, he was a one-man show for Georgia Tech. I'm very interested, Matt. About 10 days from now, he'll take on that Pitt defense down in Atlanta. And Pitt's defense has some good dudes on the defensive front. They've got some Kyle Lewis and some good linebackers that are going to play in the pros. As you and I have talked about before, Pitt's defensive backs are always tough to play against because they do that press man up style. Excited to see, coming off of his bye week and their first loss of the season, how Hayes King navigates this, because if they win out, they'll be in the ACC championship game. He's one of those guys I would love to see Georgia Tech get into the playoff, because I'd love to see him go up against like a.
Do they have a chance? I don't even know where they're at.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. They're 9-1 or 8-1 right now.
Okay.
If they win out, they'll be in the ACC championship game. And he's a real intriguing one to me.
He's definitely the name that was tweeted at us the most in the last week. What about Hayes King?
Because, I mean, he's putting up like 400 or 500 yards of offense every single week. Every single week.
He's been on the list, but we haven't dug into him a lot.
Yes. Yeah. He's one I think that he'll be an intriguing conversation around combine and draft time. Okay. Absolutely. Carson Beck, quick mention. He responded fine. Miami bounced back after that loss to SMU in overtime. He played well in a win against Syracuse, but like I told you, he has all the talent in the world. He lacks the leadership, the maturity. I think I'm just out on him no matter what I see down the stretch. John Mateer, a guy that we've been following through this process a lot, a guy that you really liked what you saw in the beginning of the season from him before he had that hand injury, missed some time, and has looked a little rusty since. I want to see how he plays down the stretch here, too.
Yeah, that could be the difference of going back or not. Probably.
Oklahoma's got a couple big games here beginning this Saturday at Alabama. He's coming off of a bye week now. Hand should be as healthy as it's been. They've had some time to, you get the bye week to rest, reset, self-scout, all that stuff. Really excited to see how Mateer finishes the year, because he's one of those guys that, could kind of be, he's projected, let's say, 25th to 35th pick in mock drafts. But when he gets to the combine, when he gets to pro days, all that stuff starts rocketing up draft boards.
I could definitely see that.
He's got that skill set. Matt, let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier for a second.
Yeah, we've kind of brushed him and Klubnik. We haven't talked a lot about.
Uhler, Arch Manning. I mean, those were like the four biggest names coming into the year, and they've fallen back. And Arch, I didn't put him on the packet this week, but maybe he will be next week. He's
playing better, right?
He's playing much better, and they have to go to Georgia. So if he can navigate that and somehow win, he'll get in that conversation again. But Nuss, I tell you what, they obviously lost to Alabama, like we were just talking about with Ty Simpson. But he completed almost 86% of his passes, 121 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like he's looking like a day 2, day 3 pick.
Okay.
I think he deserves to be in these conversations again. He's shown some signs of life, but it would take a lot for him to get back into the first round.
And he's not physically overwhelming. Like, he doesn't have the biggest arm, the strongest body.
No. He's a coach's kid, smart above the neck, and that kind of stuff. Drew Aller's still hurt. Obviously, we know that. Cade Klubnik's an interesting one to me, Matt, because he was amongst that, like the Mount Rushmore of Klubnik, Aller, Nussmeier, and Arch before the season started. Klubnik is the one who's maybe clawed back the most. Clemson defeated Florida State 24-10. He completed over 74% of his passes, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, also ran for a touchdown. I would say after a very slow start to the season, his stock is starting to trend up. He's one of the guys that we haven't talked about much, but maybe I could still see him becoming a first round,
I would.
Jackson Dart type range selection in the first round. He's looked much better the last couple weeks than he did the first half of the season, and obviously could finish strong.
And if his junior tape's as strong as people thought it was, I mean, that didn't go away either. Or his last year tape. I don't know if he was a junior or not. But.
Sawyer Robinson, another one of those guys we've gotten a lot of tweets about. The Baylor quarterback, 6'4", 220 pounds, coming off of his bye week, so nothing new to report. But they have Utah, one of the better defenses in the Big 12 at home this Saturday. Big test for Sawyer Robinson this Saturday. We'll have more information on him next week. He'll be one of those guys next week that him and Mateer, I really want to highlight. Coming out of their bye week, kind of a crossroads, playing against two really good defenses.
Okay.
They're ones to keep an eye on this Saturday. Sam Levitt, Arizona State, loved what he was doing the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I thought he was getting some momentum.
I was really kind of, hey, it's good for my Mountaineers, but we have to go out to Tempe this Saturday to play Arizona State. So good that he's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But they have that wide receiver too, who is Tet McMillan of this year.
Yes, he's first round pick.
Might be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
I was, as much as I'm happy that Levitt, for WVU's chances to win isn't going to play. Man, to watch those two against my team is always kind of, let's see how these guys, you want to watch your team play against those guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Familiar barometer.
But Levitt could work his way back into this conversation. I also could absolutely see him staying another year. Couple more here. Two more, Matt. Y'all good?
Yeah, roll along, man.
Okay. Taylon Green. He's another one that we've gotten tweets about. Spent 3 years at Boise State. Now is in his second year at Arkansas. He will be coming out in the draft this year. He kind of defines size and dual threat, Matt. He's
That's what I thought,
6'6", 225. And, they fired their coach Sam Pittman like a month ago. So it's a program that has
not been a good year.
Wallowing in the wilderness. But his dual threat ability is undeniable. Single-handedly willed them to a win over Mississippi State. Key runs, timely throws. He is that offense. Handles pressure with maturity. Like Sellers, hard to evaluate on a bad team.
Sounds like a lot like Sellers.
But has undeniable traits.
Okay, yeah.
A lot like Sellers, not quite the arm, but much more prototypical size. He's 6'6", 225.
Yeah.
Much like Sellers, not quite the arm strength, but much better prototypical size.
Someone like that, would be great for me, the Steelers with the 22nd pick, if Rodgers is coming back.
Totally.
Yeah, just sit there and absorb everything that Rodgers says.
Jordan Love 2.0.
Yeah, exactly, right. Just like you did with Brett and Jordan did with you, right.
I am absolutely with you on that one. Last but certainly not least here, got a couple tweets this past week about Brendan Sorsby as well, too. Now, he's coming off a bye week, and before that had perhaps his worst performance of the season, blowout loss at Utah. Utah's really good defense.
You say he's at UC. Is that Cal?
Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. I put UC in the packet.
Yep.
I
remember we were going to talk about Cincinnati. I didn't know his name.
Yep. Started at IU. Now is at Cincinnati. Matt didn't have his bye week this past week, and was a tough performance, tough sledding against Utah. He's got a Arizona team at home that's kind of ripe for the picking. I expect him to bounce back in a big way off a bad performance and then a bye week. But if you look at his numbers for the year, he's another 6'3", 235. You like the size, you like the athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
He's thrown for over 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Also,
productive.
Over 450 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns on just 73 rushing attempts. He averages 6.2 yards per carry. He is, all of Division I football, responsible for the most touchdowns in college football with 29.
I need to do more work on this guy. He's intriguing couple sentences here about him. Yeah.
He's really started to get on my radar. And we've talked a little bit about Derek Bell, who does some social media film breakdown stuff
right.
in Steelers territory. He loves college quarterback, breaking down film.
Yes.
I saw him last week. He was getting really into Brendan Sorsby.
Okay.
So I think the word's spreading a little bit. He was not one of these kind of on the radar guys at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I say that's why I don't know him.
But a little bit like Hayes King, a little bit like Sawyer Robinson. I mean, Matt, again, 29 touchdowns, 8 of those on the ground, 21 through the air, only 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
Productive.
Okay. No, that's really intriguing.
And I want to watch him down the stretch here too, and hoping that Cincinnati can maybe backdoor into a Big 12 championship game. I would love to see him up against that Texas Tech defense. Matt, matchups in Week 12. There's a whole bunch from a quarterback standpoint to keep an eye on here, particularly Friday night.
Oh, fun.
Clemson and Cade Klubnik are at number 15 Louisville Friday night. Oregon, number 9 Oregon, and Dante Moore host Minnesota Friday night. So some fun ones on Friday.
So there's two big-time quarterbacks playing.
Yes. 2
nights from now.
Exactly right. And I kind of let – so, college football used to have a stranglehold on Thursdays like a decade ago.
Yeah.
You remember in the Big East days. It was always WVU and Virginia Tech, Pitt and Miami, Thursday night.
We played a lot of Thursday games.
Big games. Now that's moved to Friday because, of course, the NFL has said
you're going to
lose
ours. That battle.
Thursdays
Right.
Much like they did to the NBA with the Christmas Day. Hey, guess what? That's ours now, buddy. Sorry about that. Couple fun games to watch on Friday night. Then Saturday, Indiana plays at noon. Mendoza hosting that Wisconsin team, which is a little bit on the up and up now. Playing better lately as Wisconsin. Sellers in South Carolina, like I mentioned, go to A&M.
Yeah.
I really like the A&M quarterback Reed as well, too. He's only a sophomore, so he's not draft eligible, but he's one of these Jaden Miava types that, we might be talking about a lot next year if you want to keep an eye on him. Cincinnati plays at noon, hosting Arizona, like I mentioned, if you want to watch Sorsby. I know a lot of people around here, a lot of Pitt fans, a lot of Notre Dame fans. Your noon slate is locked in.
Yeah,
but
sure.
there's some good quarterback matchups in the noon slate as well, too. Then at 3:30, please watch Oklahoma and Mateer against Alabama and Simpson. That's the one if you can only watch.
That's awesome, right?
That's the one if you can only watch one at 3:30. 2 top 12 teams, 2 first-round talents at quarterback. Then Iowa takes that really good defense on the road to USC. Excited to see how Miava does against a very stout, very stingy Iowa defense.
You think Miava's stock's going up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a top 20 matchup out there at the Coliseum in L.A. in Southern California. Chambliss and Ole Miss. They host Florida, 7 o'clock at night. Florida is another one. They fired their coach. They've been a program up and down, but they got dudes on defense like they always do.
Sure, they have athletes, right?
Want to see how Chambliss does against that athletic defense that can move at home in a good test at 7 o'clock. As I mentioned, Baylor hosts Utah, one of, I think, maybe the most underrated team in college football in Utah. Really good defense on the road in Waco against Baylor, 7 o'clock. How does Sawyer Robinson look out of his bye week? And then finally, I threw Arch on here in this regard, where Texas, number 11 Texas, goes
in Georgia, right?
Goes to Georgia Saturday night, 7:30. Let's see how Arch has been arrow up these last couple weeks. Let's see how he looks in a tough environment against a top 5 team.
I mean, real quick on Arch. I mean, everyone on the planet seems to think, oh, he's going back. He is Manning money. They're going to give him a ton. We don't know that. I mean, if he finishes super strong and
if they win their last 2 games, they could get into the playoff.
And then look out.
And then if he has another solid game or 2 in the playoff.
Yeah.
Again, if his agent's telling him you'll be a top 15 pick in the draft.
I mean, I bet if he comes out, he'd be considered for number 1.
Absolutely.
I mean,
because he just still has some undeniable
He still
traits.
has the same things we talked about in the summer. I mean, I just know how it works. Last question for you.
Yes.
Does Notre Dame have a dude? They have a true freshman or something?
They do.
Okay,
so it's the true freshman bowl.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Between Henschel, of course, the Pitt quarterback, and then the Notre Dame quarterback, CJ Carr.
Okay.
2 great.
I just know a lot of people be watching that game, so I figured Notre Dame had to have somebody.
If you want to watch that game for an NFL prospect, Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back.
So he's like Genty. I mean, he's going to be a high pick.
Bijan Robinson, Ashton Genty, top 10, top 15 pick.
That rare running back.
Running back, which means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Means a lot. Huge Week 12 slate. I'm very happy the Steelers are home on Sunday. That means I don't have to.
That's good for you.
That means I don't have to get on a plane Saturday night. That means, hey, honey, take the girls and go somewhere nice because Daddy's got a bunch of college football games to watch for 14 hours, baby. I'm excited to dig my heels in.
Love it.
There's your around campus, a beefy one, maybe the longest one we've ever done here, heading into Week 12 and a big week in college football. We'll come back on the other side. Few minutes, put a bow on this thing on this Wednesday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here on The Drive, Matt, and we only have a couple minutes. Clock was we had a couple beefy segments today.
Yeah, we did.
Beefy around campus, beefy best of the West.
Yeah, both those ones.
Talked to Halicke, our buddy Chris Halicke, for a long time. So just a couple minutes here before we got to go, and I did want to get to one tweet from Annie that caught my eye. along the Aaron Rodgers conversation, she's asking why we haven't seen the tight ends function as a pseudo wide receiver too, like there was so much conversation about coming into the season.
Yeah.
Is it because they're bigger, slower, and less adept at running complex routes than wide receivers? Is it because they're needed for their blocking duties? Just wondered for your guys' insight.
Well,
It's a good question.
it is a good question, and I don't have a good answer. I would like to see Freiermuth's role grow a little.
As a pass catcher.
As a pass
especially.
catcher, yes. Jonnu, to me, has been a little disappointing. I mean, and I think that's more on him than them. I'm not saying he stinks or is worthless or anything like that, but he would be last in my snap count pecking order of the three for sure. But one of these things, and I'm kind of using it as a cop-out, it's so easy to say, well, we need more Warren. Why is Metcalf only getting 4 or 5 targets a game?
I know where you're going with this, but it's true.
They don't run any plays. They run the fewest plays in the league.
If you ran an extra 10, 12, 15 plays a game,
right.
That's 3 more for Warren and 3 more for Metcalf and 6 more for your tight ends.
I feel like a broken
Another
record.
deep shot to Calvin Austin.
I feel like a broken record with time of possession and not running enough plays, but I mean, it's crippling. I mean, you can't win getting out-snapped by 10, 15 plays a game, especially as the season goes on. And we talked about the other day, like, the defense is on pace to play like 3 games more than the offense.
Can't have it. Not sustainable.
Right.
Matt, before we go real quick, latest practice report just came across the timeline. Broderick Jones listed with a groin, his reason for not practicing today.
All right.
So we'll follow up on that,
jump on that tomorrow.
Get a little bit more into that tomorrow. Obviously, see what the Thursday practice report looks like, but there's kind of a follow-up for you for today. But that will do it for us today. Big thanks to our buddy Chris Halicke for taking the time to join us, our guy Tyler V, Mr. TV, for making sure we look handsome on YouTube. Big shout out to Matt Williamson. I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.